My name is Sam Martin, and here's my presentation on my educational autobiography. When I came to Grand Valley, it was very clear to me that I was different from the general population. And that became very real to me when I was in my political science classes. Political science is a field that's dominated by white men, and obviously I am not that, so it was very difficult for me to be able to find my niche and be able to make an impact in that class. What I contributed to the class wasn't taken seriously by my male counterparts and my male professors, and also on the same front, a lot of the people in my class were conservative, so that sort of liberal piece thrown into it too made it difficult for me to be able to make an impact in the class and for me to be able to get all that I wanted to get out of the class. I felt that I wasn't being listened to and I wasn't being validated in the class, and I really didn't feel the need to try anymore. And even though my race was something that was very apparent, because you see that when you look at me, and I'm perceived as female by people who don't know about my gender identity being non-binary. My sexual identity is something that I was fighting when I first got to Grand Valley. I was trying to keep it as stifled as possible because I was on the varsity women's lacrosse team. I was in athletics. I was in a new place and I didn't know anyone. And I didn't think coming out would be conducive to my success or anything really when I first got to college. And I found that my mental health deteriorated because of that, and my grades and my interest in staying in school fell because of that too. Having to be at odds with something that's so integral to myself wasn't something that was beneficial to me, and it wasn't something that made my college experience any better. But fortunately for me, that changed. When I went into my junior year, I went into the LGBT Resource Center here on campus, and I felt validated in my racial identity, in my gender identity, in my sexual identity, and I felt that there was a place that I could be all of who I was in the same place. And I was closeted selectively, so some people knew that I was queer and some people didn't. So having to constantly dodge in and out of that space, trying to remember who I was out to and who I wasn't out to, was something that was really exhausting. And it was very difficult for me at times to be able to keep on top of that and stay in control of that. And I didn't want to have people look at me any differently than they had before if I chose to come out to them. And for the most part, they didn't, but that fear was still kind of there. But once I got to my junior year and going on into my senior year, I felt that, I needed to start doing things for me and I needed to start living my life for myself. So I did. And I developed a lot in a short period of time. It was pretty much like night and day how my student experience went. And I found incredible mentors and incredible people who backed me up and who supported me in everything. And everything just became better. I threw myself into being involved in the center and in the women's center as well, and being a part of intersections. And I found classes that I loved and things that really genuinely interested me. And I did better on that front as well. And I think that being able to own my identity and being able to embrace all parts of me and love all parts of me was a big reason as to why I was successful. And it was a big reason to why I wanted to pursue CSAL, because I wanted to be the person that I needed in my first 2 years of college. I wanted to be the person to help sort of quell that fear, or, help someone work through their identity if they're uncertain, or if they're having problems coming to grips with it, or if they're struggling with it, or, if they need help in school, if they need help with dealing with other people, who don't necessarily understand them. and I wanted to be able to um, be the person that I needed and the person that needed me, basically. And that's why I wanted to go into student affairs. I found what I loved, and I wanted to be able to do that for the rest of my life. And I think that, finding my passion and finding something that I love so much was something that I really wanted to do. And just looking back, like the difference between my first 2 years and my last 2 years were, like I said earlier, like night and day. My first 2 years were filled with a lot of fear and uncertainty, and filled with a lot of just not knowing what I wanted to do. And a lot of that came with, being far away from home and being somewhere new and learning new things and trying to start a whole new life, basically. And the normal things that freshmen would be worried about. But another part of that, too, was also trying to figure out where I fit with my identities and with just everything that I had to offer, and not knowing exactly how that worked and not knowing exactly how it would work. But as I moved through college and as I had my experiences and learned from them, I found that I needed to start doing things for myself and not for the satisfaction of others. So I started learning for me. I started, owning my identities for me. I started just living an authentic life for me. And things became a lot better. And my vision and my work and my love for education and my love for learning and my love for people just became so much clearer, because I found joy in my life, and I found that I was pretty much unstoppable because I started to love myself and learn that even though a system is trying to push me down every day, I can still rise and I can still push against it and I can still be successful. So basically, to sum it all up, my education here at Grand Valley is something that I would never want to trade. Being a student of color at a PWI is hard, and throw the queerness into that, that's even harder. I didn't think I was ready for that when I first came here, but I am now, obviously, because I'm pursuing a field of study that I'm so passionate about and that I want to learn more about every single day. And I think that I owe a lot of who I am to Grand Valley, because the person who I was when I started is not the person who I am now. And I owe a lot of that to Grand Valley and the experiences that Grand Valley gave to me and the people that Grand Valley gave to me. And I don't think I would be the same person if I didn't decide to move 700 miles away from home and start over again.